We should be live right about now. What's going on? Let's see, let's see, let's see. Let's see. Pro fan talk. Let's go live. There we go. There we go. What's going on, people? What is going on? We are done. We are 2 and 0. And sitting here watching post game live with Barrett Brooks. But we are done. And it, yeah, still not a good feeling. Not a no, still not a great feeling. But we got it done. We grinded. I went out. I don't even like the way we ended that game. We had an opportunity to just step on their neck and we didn't do it. Penalties and taking ourselves out of field goal range, and just the fact that we couldn't, like, just, you know, cut the head off and be done with it. That's frustrating. The offense is still a little frustrating. We found our rhythm with the run game, but it seems like the optics are that defenses are still confusing Brian Johnson and what he wants to do. Flores ran basically that same defense that Belichick ran up in New England, and it did basically the same thing. So when you see all of these sacks, if you notice, Jalen's getting up out of there, but he's getting up out of there late, and he's making a conscious effort not to just take off and run. They're still doing that model rush where they'll bring everybody up and then they'll drop 2 to 3 people back, and all they do is stay in that short to mid zone. So everywhere Jalen looks, there's somebody in every zone, every passing lane. That's why Jalen Hurts is holding the ball so much. That's exactly why he's holding the ball so much. And when you try to force the issue, you get the pick that he threw. He threw that pick in the double coverage, trying to thread the needle, and hoping that Devontae Smith could make a play on it. And you can't get away with that in double coverage. You're just not gonna do it. So that was just a bad decision on Jalen's part. But for the most part, the Eagles have to figure out how to combat this defense everybody's throwing at them. And every team is going to do the exact same thing. Until we find a way to beat it, expect to see the same defenses week after week after week. They're going to bring 8 men in the box, and they're going to drop 2 and sometimes 3 people. And what they're doing is forcing your offensive line to make a call or to make a read based on what they see. If the cornerback comes out and he's head up on Lane Johnson or he's head up on the guard, if you're an offensive lineman and you got a man head up on you, usually you're going to take that man. But they don't know if he's going to drop back into coverage or what they're going to do. So what that does is that confutes um, that that makes the offensive lineman hesitate. Who's coming? Who's dropping? And all you need is that half a second of hesitation. That is enough to get past the offensive lineman. So, and it also fakes out the quarterback. You think they're in one coverage and they're not, and then you throw it in the zone where too many people are, and you end up in turnover. So they're basically trying to make the offense and the offensive line make bad calls, or make not bad calls, but make the wrong calls. They're disguising what they want to do, and they want the offensive line to make a mistake. Because you're either going to force a turnover or you're going to get a sack. And a lot of those sacks, Jalen Hurts held the ball, didn't throw it away, but he's still standing in the pocket. And I will give him credit for that because he's standing in the pocket and not taking off. And what they're doing is they're not dropping those linebackers deep back in the zone. So those linebackers are probably 5 to 10 yards deep. So if Jalen does decide to run, they're not so deep where they can't come up and make a play, and maybe they'll limit him to anywhere around the 5 yard mark. Giving up 5 yards is a hell of a lot better than giving up a big play. So the Eagles and Brian Johnson have to figure out a way to beat this. They got to come up with something. They got to come up with something. So I don't know what they're going to do. Um, but Brian Johnson has got some work to do. Defense played great in the first half. Second half, not so much. And let me take our defensive line off. Let me get them off of the off the table. Defensive line is our defensive line is tops right now. We have a murderer's row um, with Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick, um, Milt Williams, Josh Sweat, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith. We got a murderer's row on defensive line. Josh Sweat was everywhere tonight. Milt Williams, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, they were everywhere. If you watch, go back and watch the tape. If you look at the line of scrimmage at the snap of the ball, the defensive line was moving the Vikings back off the ball. They were firing off to get off or whatever they want to call it. Our defensive line was moving the offense off the ball. Our defensive line is tops. I even think our linebackers was playing well. Moreau was all over the place. Zach Cunningham was all over the place. I want to see if Zach Cunningham's got a serious injury because apparently he went to the locker room. We do not need another linebacker hurt. Lord have mercy. Please, not another one. But I thought they played relatively well. I didn't see Christian Ellis much. So much for a dark horse. But Zach Cunningham looked good and Moreau was all over the field. So for somebody that was cut, he sure did look pretty damn good. So our defensive secondary, I don't know what the hell the issue is that they can't pass coverages right now. Either they don't know what's going on or they're getting confused. So that's 2 weeks in a row that whenever we have an alt going up against the offense where they run rub routes and they force the defensive secondary to either shift or run underneath or pass the coverage off, banjo it. We're struggling with that mightily. Mightily. We gave up 14 points tonight on that issue alone. You can't, if you're in the end zone, you got to be able to pass off coverage. If you don't know what to do, you run over there with them. But don't just let somebody go. Not in the end zone. Not in the end zone. That's somebody that's playing that hasn't been playing, and you get caught in a situation like that. That's the same thing when Kirk Cousins threw that long bomb. You got somebody in there that didn't know what they were doing, and they got out of position, and they got beat. You can say what you want about Justin Jefferson. He was a beast tonight. And we can't be in a situation where we can't cover. And our secondary was supposed to be tops, but once again, now Avante Maddox is hurt, Bradbury is hurt, Blankenship is hurt. So now, let's see if all of those young DBs and safeties can play. I'm sure they can. Josh Jobe got exposed tonight, but it's not about whether they can play. It's about whether they know what they're doing. That's the key. If you're not passing off your coverage right, that means you don't know what you're doing. That means you're not comfortable with the offense. And again, and I've said this many times before, when you on that field at game speed and you've got to think, you're too late. You just got to know, and your body needs to react, and muscle memory, and all of that kind of cliche stuff that people talk about all the time. That is real. You got to be able to just react. Your body should already know what to do, regardless of what you're seeing. And our defensive secondary did not do that tonight. Slade was all over the field, just a half second too late, and Justin Jefferson had the best of them tonight. It's not like that Slade was bad. It's just the margin for error is slim. He even had an interception that went right through his hands, and Justin Jefferson still made the catch. So we got to do better in a situation like that. We just have to do better. So We'll see how everybody else does. But there is some cause of concern. We are not winning. We are not coming out of games clean. We're having way too many injuries still. Um, DeAndre Swift, Agent Zero, is the number one running back. Point, period, end of discussion. I was big on Kenny Gainwell. I was huge on Kenny Gainwell. Kenny Gainwell earned his way to being running back one this year, without question. But DeAndre Swift has shown he is the best running back on this team. Period. There is no discussion. There is no discussion. And if this doesn't convince Brian Johnson to make us a run first offense, then Brian Johnson needs to be fired. If he can't see that, he's in the wrong business. Hopefully, they can change some things up and they can run the ball and do some true play action, because I still hate that we run so much out of pistol and gun, but that's not going to change. But we just got to get some formations and some action to get those linebackers to move out that damn zone, so we can open up some stuff coming across the middle. When you can come across the middle, that forces the safeties up. That makes it you can do some double moves and get deep. Everything works together. Everything works together. If you got people coming up because they got to support the run, DeAndre Swift was getting 6 and 7 yards a carry. So they got to come up and support that. When you get them to come up, that's when you can take your receivers over the top. It's a chess match. Everything works together. But everything needs to run through our run game. Our offensive line was good. Dickerson, Mailata, Dickerson and Mailata looked suspect today. I don't know what that was, but they didn't look good. Got to go back and watch the tape. Didn't look good at all. So that will require a little bit more study. But there should be no question that the Eagles should stay a run first offense, not a RPO, a run first. Because if clearly the teams want to take away the RPO from Jalen Hurts, and if they're going to do that, that's okay. Run the ball. Give the ball to the man you pay to run the ball. And when you do that, you see what happens. When you got somebody that's explosive like DeAndre Swift, feed them. Because it was clear, and at least Brian Johnson got this message. You run it until they stop it. If they don't stop it, you keep running the damn ball. Period. That will open up so much. So much. If you want to run RPOs off of that, you can run them. If you want to run quick slants off of that, you can run them. Anything you want to do. The only thing we need to do a little bit more of is, I don't know why we're not putting in some screens, some true screens, not just a quick dump off. We gotta, running back inside the line of scrimmage from tackle to tackle, like those type of screens. We got to get it going, because now there is no misunderstanding. DeAndre Swift is a weapon that needs to be used in our offense a lot. Period. Period. DeAndre Swift is that dude. He proved it tonight. If you feed him, he will produce. AJ, everybody's going to make a big deal about the conversation. Stuff like that happens every game. Every game. I'm not worried about that in the least. I said that tonight. Somebody said that AJ Brown was going to go off. And I said, nope. It's going to be Devontae Smith, because everybody's going to be trying to stop Dallas Goedert and AJ Brown. So Devontae Smith is going to be the one that comes open. And that's exactly what happened. Jalen shortchanged one throw. The second throw was right on the money. And we got to get our red zone offense again. We got to get our red zone offense together. Again, that's falling on Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson, I need you to do a better job, bro. So we got to see what's going on. But a win is a win. We are 2-0, and we got a long week, a couple extra days to get some people rested and hopefully heal up from some of these nicks and bruises, and we can keep it moving. 2-0. We got a running back. We got our run game. Our defensive line is tops. We just got to get that secondary together. All right. As usual, please hit that subscribe button. Just eclipsed 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate the support. I appreciate everybody that's watching me here. I appreciate everybody that's watching me on A2D Radio. I'm growing, and I want to continue to grow. Just reached 1,000. The next goal is to reach 5,000. That's the goal. So spread the word. Hit that subscribe button. Click on that notification bell so you do not miss a thing. And I will see you in the next play.